talk about Duke. Let's talk about the freshmen that they bring in. Obviously, one of the blue blood homes of the one and done over the years. We know that Shire has got an interesting system now. I think it's a real uh, kind of cut and copy mold of star player and then length, size, defense, shooting around it. That's what he wants. That's what he's looking for around his superstar. His superstar this year, there's no question, is Cam Boozer. How much do you like Cam Boozer? What are your expectations for him heading into the season?
Well, it's hard not to appreciate Cam Boozer's body of work. I mean, he's probably the most accomplished high school player that I've covered in my decade plus being in the industry, and possibly even going back further than that. You look at what he's done: three-time Peach Jam champion, two-time FIBA gold medal, or two or three-time FIBA gold medalist. You have National Player of the Year honors. You have four-time state champion, just et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And he's been MVP of a lot of these championship runs that he's had. Throughout the high school process at every level, he's been a 20 and 10 guy. Just a no nonsense, no frills kind of game, meat and potatoes of what he brings to the table. And it's hard not to appreciate what that is. It's hard not to appreciate the fact that he's done that at every single level, every step across the way.
Yeah, he's a guy who I'm really interested. Can he average 20 and 10 at the college level? Because if he does that, I think we start getting into bigger conversations when we talk about the NBA draft next season, which we will do over the next few weeks. But he's got that potential. I mean, he has done it, like you said, at every level, every stop he's been at. He is productive. He gets to the glass. He's shown some ability to be a playmaker even from that forward spot, putting up some assists in different competitions. So I think that he's got such a well-rounded game, such a game that translates to whatever level of basketball that he's playing. That it's one of the most sure things in college basketball this season, despite him being an incoming freshman, in my eyes.
For sure. And you think about it, he's also super young for the class as well. So he's coming in with these expectations. But the beautiful part about it is could he average 20 and 10? He probably could. But he's not going to need to with what this Duke team has around him. Not only do they have this incoming class of freshmen, but they also have some returners that are going to have the spotlight on them as well. So could Cam Boozer average 2010? He probably could. But with this Duke team, the makeup of it and everything, while he will probably most likely be a central hub of what the offense is going to do, he is not going to need to necessarily average that 20 and 10. He's going to need to bring efficiency. He's going to meet decision making and all that type. What he does at his best is he understands leverage and angles incredibly well. He's naturally strong, huge hands, broad shoulders, naturally strong player. But how he gets his work done is not necessarily with the flash. It's not necessarily with the high flying stuff. It's groundwork. He understands leverage. He gets great leverage on every play, and he understands angles, getting his work done early to be able to find the positioning in order to create advantages for his team.
Yeah, for sure. And let's talk about a little bit of the rest of that roster here, because he is not the only big time freshman who will be on campus. His brother, Caden Boozer, is a player that I'm really, really fascinated by because he's got that conductor in him. He's got that just kind of metronome at the top of the offense. It seems like he gets things organized. He played with some of the best players in the country, and he always felt in control of what was happening when I watched him. A player that's really fascinating to me that I think um, is in the conversation to uh, overachieve for where he was ranked. And obviously, he's ranked there based on some of the upside, some of the things. But man, it feels like a sure thing what he provides this Duke team. And I'm interested to see between him and Caleb Foster what that distribution of minutes is as well.
For sure. Caden, all the stuff that Cam Boozer won, Caden was his teammate.
Yeah.
So he was the point guard. It might not have been the starting point guard on some of those favorites. It might not have been all this stuff, but he was on those all those same teams, won all those same trophies, championships that Cam won. So that's not to be discounted of what Caden brings to the table. I think the best word to describe Caden's game is steady. He's somebody that has a high floor. You know what you're going to get from him. He runs the team, runs the show, and plays effective, meaningful basketball. He's got great positional size at the lead guard position. and he's able to, like you said, conductor. He's able to get his team into sets. He's able to defend with physicality, um, and he's been in some really big moments in his lifetime and performed.
Yeah. Nicholas Kamania, another one who I think could give this team some offensive punch. Feels like there's two schools of thought on him that I'm hearing from people around when I just talk the game. One is he's one of the unsure things on this team. What is he going to become? We're not really sure exactly his role, where he fits in. The other one is people who just kind of assume, oh, he'll fill the Con Knipple role. I think that's a little unfair. But what have you seen from him that does translate into this Duke roster?
For sure, I think every team that is loaded with talent, every team that has an abundance of alphas needs the connector. I don't think the Con Knipple stuff is fair because their games are they're not alike.
Right.
You know, Kamini is taller. Knipple is more of an alpha scorer. Kamini is more of a connector. Um, I think what he'll bring to this team is when things get going kind of crazy, he'll be the calming factor. He's able to dribble, shoot, and pass to an advantage. You can line him up in multiple spots in the half court and run some offense through him. He's an excellent passer, sees the floor incredibly well. He can knock down some shots as well. Tough physical player, diving on the floor for loose balls. He rebounds well, understands all of that type of game, connecting the pieces together. The question with Nick is going to be the athleticism.
Mhm.
It's going to take an adjustment period for his athleticism to get used to kind of get the speed of the game, the length, and all that as he plays on. And Duke, man, they're not ducking smoke in the offseason. They're coming in with an incredible schedule. So he's going to be indoctrinated pretty quickly into it. How quickly he gets into the big minutes will be how quickly he gets adjusted to the speed of the game and the athleticism. But with that said, with all of the stuff going on around them, the Caleb Fosters, the Cam Boozers, the Isaiah Evans, all of those pieces around him, the Dame Sarr, who I'm sure we'll talk about in a minute, he connects it all together. He's a guy who can score for himself. He's a guy that can move the ball. He's a guy that can run some offense through in the half court, put him at the elbows, and run some actions off of him and all that as well as he reads the defense. So he's the connecting piece that kind of calms everything together and grounds what they have going.
Yeah, Dame Sarr, you mentioned there. He feels like kind of the opposite side of this conversation when we talk about that wing spot. Who's going to get a lot of minutes there? Kamini is going to be in competition at times with his teammate Dame Sarr for that role, and he comes, of course, from the international level. I said on an episode last week with Connor O'Neill that I almost forget that Dame Sarr is not one of their transfers because he played at a professional level. He's got a lot of high level experience at the top end, experience with Barcelona
Mm-hmm.
in Europe, and he was a guy who wasn't just out there on the court in garbage minutes or in their small games. He was a guy who they were using for defensive substitutions as a teenager playing professional basketball. So that tells me a lot about what they're going to use him for, what he's going to be expected to provide early on as he looks to round out his game into a 3-and-D model that the NBA will love.
So when I was at practice a couple of weeks ago, watching, I was sitting with a couple of NBA guys, and we were sitting there talking. Walking out onto the court, Dame Sarr looks exactly like an NBA, like how you would exactly draw an NBA wing.
Mm-hmm.
He has the length, the positional size, he has the athletic fluidity, and seeing him move through drills and move through the kind of ramp up period of the practice, you see the physical tools, you see the athleticism, and you also can see the jump shot. Running through drills, uncontested jump shots. I mean, the balance points are beautiful. He high arcing release and consistent release from every level and all that stuff. Transitioning from the drill session to the game session, there's a little bit of inconsistency there.
Mm-hmm.
So watching him is going to be kind of like Kamini, but in a different way, gaining the confidence level, getting up to the speed of the game and all that. He's got a world of talent. He's got the upside. If he hits his top end upside, he's got first round ability. He's got lottery ability. He's got all of that in the bag. Now it's going to be the ramp up period of getting used to the speed of the game, getting into his sets, getting into where he's getting his shots at, and the comfort level of getting into those opportunities as well. The athleticism is there. I would have to imagine defensively being aggressive into the passing lanes and being able to switch like Duke likes to do on their defensive end of the floor, is all within the realm of possibility for him. Being able to self-create off the bounce is the next step for him. But he's got the tools, and it's going to be fascinating to see because the realm of outcome for Dame Sarr this season is pretty big.
Yeah,
The floor, getting ramped up and everything, but the ceiling of what he brings to the table could be pretty massive, especially if he gets going, making the shots and everything, gets downhill, finishes at the rim, sees a couple go through. There's a high upside there. I would expect him to probably be in the starting lineup and continue to have opportunities to work through the ramp up period for him to be able to build confidence as the season progresses on. What we see from Dame Sarr in January could be very different from what he gives us in November as the season goes on. And another beautiful thing about that, kind of like we said with Cam Boozer earlier, they're not going to need Dame to come in and score 18 a
right.
game. They have the depth and they have the talent around him to be able to ramp him up and get him comfortable. Let him see some success first. Let him fail a little bit, come back with some success, and continue to grow within his game to ramp up to what they will need from him later in the season. But the upside of what he brings, just the look and the makeup of what Dame Sarr has, checks a lot of boxes at the highest level with the top end outcomes possibly being there.
For sure. Sebastian Wilkins, we'll wrap up here with our Duke conversation. I think he's the big wild card. I mean, he's the one that we is the biggest unknown, right? Right. Late addition to the class. Um, some people are tell you, hey, like he's got all the tools, he's got the body type, he's got everything you're looking for. He's just got to put it together. And if he puts it together, that's the kind of thing that could take this Duke team from in the mix to, oh wow, they're separating from the field. If he can really get things going and add some deep depth to this Duke roster, look out because they could be scary.
Yeah, no, Sebastian Wilkins, he brings a physicality to the table. He can shoot the ball a little bit. He can defend some. He can do all that, but he brings a physicality factor to this team. And another beautiful thing about that, he's going to be backing up most likely at the four, which is Cam Boozer's position. So
Mm.
again, they're not necessarily going to need him this season to be an all-world type of player. Just
Right.
getting comfortable within the flow of playing an ACC level basketball, Power Five basketball. If you remember, he was originally part of the next class and classified up. He was a reclass guy to begin with, so he went back to his original class, but he was playing most of his career as a 26, and then classifying up into this 25 class. So, the expectation of him is to be a multi-year player at Duke. And the expectations for him this season might not be necessarily as high. So anything that
Right.
he brings to the table this season would probably be a plus. But there is a bright future for him on down the line as he continues to grow, get experience, and come back and year over year have the growth and experience.